The idea of a Nintendo Switch 2 is very exciting. This sounds obvious if you've been remotely paying attention to the Nintendo space recently. But why? Why are we fans losing our collective minds over this new console when we already seem to have everything we could ever want on the console we've got right now? It's because we can see exactly where Nintendo is headed with this new console. Many of the original Nintendo Switch's first-party games have been so good because most of the developers were limited by the Switch's very outdated hardware. These limits forced them to get more creative with their game design and made them push these nearly 20-year-old specs to their limits to give us games chock full of fun and innovative ideas, vast and stunning game worlds with beautiful art styles oozing with charm that somehow almost always manage to run at a solid 60 or 30 FPS. I said almost always. This, combined with the resurgence of many long-forgotten IPs and a Nintendo more willing to make calculated risks in their game design, we've seen things we could have only dreamt of during the Wii U era. During the Wii U era, Nintendo had a very quickly staling business practice of keeping their franchises, especially Mario, as basic and as bland as possible, and therefore as safe as possible. Nintendo had a flop on their hands with the Wii U and decided to keep things as safe as possible so they could keep the lights on. But that became old very quickly, which left them in a position where they had very little to lose. They decided that for their new console, the Nintendo Switch, they were going to do things very differently. They were going to invest in smaller, low-budget, but equally crowd-pleasing games. They were going to listen to what fans wanted rather than ignoring them, believing Nintendo knows best. They were going to get creative and let their developers' imaginations run wild to give us instant classics like Super Mario Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, Pikmin 4, Metroid Dread, Luigi's Mansion 3, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Animal Crossing New Horizons, Splatoon 3, Tears of the Kingdom, and Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and they were going to keep the pace of game releases up, stronger than they ever had before. At no point were they just going to coast along after the success of the console like they have in years past, letting third parties make the majority of the games for their system. They were going to release multiple high-quality, crowd-pleasing games almost every 2 months of the year from the release of this new system to the release of their next. This is evident in the release schedule of just this year. In my predictions video, I said it was going to be a much calmer year for Switch. Nope! Wrong. Here's Princess Peach's second ever solo game. Here's a remake of the most beloved Mario RPG. Here's Zelda's first ever solo game. Here's the revival of the long-thought-to-be dead Mario and Luigi series. And here's the best Mario Party game to release since Mario Party 8. And this time they've listened to every single teeny tiny thing us Mario Party fans have whined about for an entire decade and a half. And you see, this makes the Nintendo Switch 2 exciting. Because now, Nintendo knows this business model works. In an industry full of layoffs, terrible business practices, and expensive big live service trash flopping left and right, Nintendo are finally making money. A lot of it. The sales of their console are huge, with the Switch projected to be the best-selling system of all time by the time it's discontinued. And there are still games flying off the shelves across the world, even with most of them sitting at a $60 price tag. This business model has made them unfathomably wealthy and made their IPs more popular than they've ever been, and they're only going to keep doing it. They'd be stupid not to. This new system is going to be so much more powerful than the base Switch, and therefore it's going to have games that are going to push the boundaries more than ever before. All those limits of the original console, which may have stifled this newly brewing drive for creativity in the company, will no longer be there. They're going to create games that are bigger, more impressive, and more bizarre than anything we've ever seen because they've rediscovered that that is exactly what their fans love so much about their games. Not only that, but what the fans want is also appealing to the general public, more so than it has since the Wii era. They're not just catering to either fans or the general public anymore. What they're doing is loved by both, and it's making them so much money. This means that everything is good about what we have on Switch we're going to have again. But it's going to be larger, more creative, and more wild because they have more raw power at their fingertips. They're going to squeeze everything they can out of this new and much more powerful hardware to make all of our wildest Nintendo dreams come true. And it's all going to be right there in the palms of our hands on Nintendo Switch 2.